So the topic of this video, guys, will be free will. So many debates and opinions on free will. Do we have it or do we not? In this video, I'm going to present the view on free will coming from Advaita Vedanta, particularly the view of Sri Ramakrishna, and why I love it so much. First of all, what is Advaita Vedanta's stance on free will? Do we have free will or not? The answer is yes and no. Much like every answer presented to Advaita Vedanta. Now, we might think this is a cop-out. Just pick one, is it yes or no? But once you truly understand what Advaita Vedanta is pointing to, you realize that's the only answer you can give, yes and no. And why is that? Just quickly, if you think and feel you have free will, if that is your experience, that's a yes, isn't it? Yes, you have free will. If you think and feel you've got it, you've got it. If you think and feel you don't have it, you don't. The majority of people are going around thinking and feeling they've got free will. Who are we to argue with them? They think and feel they've got it. Some people that go into more and more spiritual practice and philosophy come to the realization, hang on, I don't have it. I thought and felt I had it. Now I think and feel I don't. So in other words, who's right? It depends who you ask. So that's one thing to remember. Every question you ask anyone, it's a yes or no answer. Ask a truly genuine Christian, is Christianity real? They'll say yes. Ask a Muslim about Christianity. They perhaps will say no. Islam is the ultimate truth. We've all got a subjective truth. And it's the same with free will. But I won't spend too much time on that. What I'm going to spend the rest of this video on is what was Sri Ramakrishna's stance on free will. Let's read some of his teachings from the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna to see his stance on free will. I'll put it there. It is God alone who does everything. You may say that in that case, man may not commit sin. Oh, if God's doing everything, let's go commit sin. It's not my will, it's God's will. But that is not true, he's saying. If a man is firmly convinced that God alone is the doer and that he himself is nothing, then he will never make a false step. I really love how he's put this. If you truly have realized God is the doer, you're not going to commit a sin. That's the catch. If you're committing sins and then saying, oh, God made me do it, you haven't truly realized God. That's the beautiful catch. He goes on. It is God alone who has planted in the man's mind what the Englishmen call free will. What's this free will? Oh, it's an English concept. People who have not realized God would become engaged in more and more sinful actions if God had not planted in them the notion of free will. Sin would have increased if God had not made the sinner feel that he alone was responsible for his sin. Those who have realized God are aware that free will is a false appearance. In reality, I am the machine and God is the operator. I am the carriage, God is the driver. This is why I love Sri Ramakrishna's position on free will. He's saying God alone is doing everything. But here's the beautiful twist. When we operate through ego, it's part of the package deal of the ego to feel like we've got free will. What the Englishmen call free will. What does the ego make us think and feel? It makes us think and feel that we're experiencing separation, ownership, control, free will. This appearance of separation is due to the ego, the appearance. When we truly believe we are separate and that we have ownership and control, we suffer. We think we've got free will, and God has planted this notion of free will in us. So when we do the wrong thing, we feel morally responsible. We regret what we've done and we hope to become better. If He didn't plant this feeling of free will in us, we would commit sin, do terrible things and not feel responsible. God made me do it. Who cares? That's why this is so beautiful, how he's described this. And those that have realized God or the true self will not make a false step. And why is this the case? And why is this so beautiful? One of the things they talk about, Krishna talks about in the Bhagavad Gita, by the way, to access true knowledge and wisdom needs a devotional attitude. The ego is all about pride and arrogance, thinking it knows it all. I think it was C.S. Lewis who said this. When you're looking down, you never see anything above you. The ego has pride, arrogance, is looking down on others, never bothering to look up at something greater than itself. But when you humble, lower yourself, go into a state of surrender, humility, true wisdom can shine in the heart. And when you allow true wisdom to shine in the heart, that is lowering the ego, humbling the ego. The ego is making us cause all this sin. That's basically what he's driving at. When you feel, I'm a separate person in a separate world, I feel incomplete and there's happiness in the world, many people go about this world trying to get happiness from it in an ethical, moral way. But some people who have strong desire cross the lines of morality. That's coming from ego. I know it's wrong, but I really need this object or person, and I'm willing to do whatever it takes. And that's where they commit a sin. So if you can see what's happening here, you can only commit sin when you're operating through ego. When you truly, truly think, I'm this person living a life, I have free will. That's the only way you can commit a sin. When you start humbling yourself, devoting, surrendering to God, surrendering the ego, surrendering ownership and control, the very fact you're in a state of surrender, humility, means you're a quote-unquote good person. You won't be committing a sin. And what is the big surprise with all this humility, devotion, surrender? You realize I never had free will. God was performing all actions. I am the true source of happiness. Every time I go out into the world, it's disturbing my peace and happiness. When I abide in the true self, that's the source of happiness. In other words, once you realize God, you realize free will is an illusion and you won't commit a sin. See the beautiful fail-safe mechanism to this. Anyone that says God's performing all actions, I can't control the sin I'm doing, they don't truly believe in God. Because to truly realize God is simultaneously not to commit sin anymore. And also by realizing God, you realize I never had free will. So I hope I explained this clearly enough. I'm willing to elaborate further. But basically, if I didn't explain this clearly, once you fully grasp what Sri Ramakrishna is saying, you realize this is so beautiful. When you think you've got free will, you haven't truly realized God yet. When you have realized God or the true self, you realize free will is an illusion and you cannot commit a sin, because with the realization I'm performing no action and my true source of happiness is within, you're not going to go out into this world and commit sin. It won't make sense to you. It's not about, it wouldn't be about, oh, I really want to commit sin, but I'm trying to hold back. It's just logic. You're thinking, I'm happy. Why get involved in the world, let alone cross the lines of morality, when I'm already happy? Why do we do anything for happiness? It would be like this. You've eaten a huge meal. You're so full. You couldn't eat another spoonful. You're just so full. And then a friend comes over and goes, there's an all-you-can-eat restaurant down the road. I know a way we can sneak in the back. Come on. We'll go in and eat for free. And you'll say, look, even if I wanted to cross the lines of morality, sneak in the restaurant, I'm so full. I can't. In a similar way, the enlightened, those that have found the true source of happiness, they're already full. They're already happy. So even if they wanted to commit a sin, why would they? It wouldn't make sense. So why do the enlightened continue to perform actions in life when they're already happy? Just out of a service and love of God. When people need them, they're there for them. They serve them. This was summed up so beautifully in a monk asking his guru. He asked the guru, I remember hearing this, Guru, why do you teach? If you're enlightened, why do you teach? The guru's reply was so beautiful. He said, because you asked me to. I'm only here because you're asking me to. Another beautiful thing I heard about the enlightened, when their eyes are closed, they experience peace. When their eyes are opened, their mindset is, what can I do for you? As opposed to us, worldly people. When our eyes are closed, we experience disturbance. Thinking about our life, my problems, my likes, my dislikes. Disturbance. When our eyes are open, what can I get from you? That's our default way of thinking. What can I get from this world? When my eyes are closed, I'm so irritable. What do the enlightened experience? When their eyes are closed, peace. When their eyes are open, what can I do for you? And that's the difference, and that's the beautiful thing. And what's the take-home message of all this? You might be saying, oh yeah, I can see how I don't have free will, but I still feel like I've got it. Beautiful. Here's what we need to do. Here's the practical advice. Just say you're a beginner and you constantly feel like you've got free will. What should you do? Freely continue to surrender and devote to a God. Freely continue to read spiritual scriptures or listen to spiritual topics. Freely meditate. Freely try to become a better and better person spiritually. What's going to happen is slowly, this realization is going to slowly dawn on you. I don't have free will. In fact, God's doing all actions. I'm actually doing nothing. But this isn't a dramatic shift. I've noticed it happen slowly, which is you feel like you've got free will all the time. Then you start getting these glimpses, these feelings of, I'm doing nothing. God's performing all actions. Then you get these intermittent feelings still of, oh, I feel like I've got free will. So you're alternating between a flow state and feeling like you've got free will. What should you do then? Whenever you're in that flow state of life is just living life, do nothing. Life is living life. But whenever you get those feelings, intermittent feelings of free will, again, freely do your spiritual practice. Freely surrender your will to God. What slowly happens is these intermittent feelings of having ownership and control die down. And eventually, you're going to be in the state of feeling no ownership and control. See, it's not an all or nothing. You go from 100% feeling I've got ownership and control to intermittently feeling that to eventually not feeling it at all. This is the pathless path. But to realize it's pathless, you need to walk down the path. If you don't, if you take all these high spiritual truths as beliefs, you're going to suffer. You're going to go, yeah, there's no free will, and you're going to get angry at people still. Yeah, there's no free will. How dare they say that to me? How dare they do that to me? Yeah, there's no free will. I feel so guilty for what I did. There's nothing wrong with feeling regret, but to feel guilt means you could have done something different. And if you feel guilty, that's fine. Remember, think like you've got free will, freely become a better person. And I'll just leave it on this point. Here's the problem with spirituality for most people. Scriptures and spiritual instructions are like the prescription. Your guru is like the doctor that writes you a prescription. Jesus wrote a prescription. Buddha wrote a prescription. Krishna wrote a prescription. What are we doing? We're taking the prescription and instead of reading it and following the instructions, we're holding them up. We're holding them up, singing. If my prescription said 2 pills twice a day and your prescription said 1 pill twice a day, what are we doing? We're arguing. Mine says 2 pills twice a day. This is right. And the other person's saying, no, my prescription says 1 pill twice a day. I'm right. We're arguing over prescriptions instead of doing what? Reading the prescription and taking the pills and then ending our suffering. Our mind loves to read the prescription, nod in agreement, battle other people over their prescriptions. But what are we supposed to be doing with this? We're not supposed to be nodding at it and not taking action. We're not supposed to be putting it on an altar and praying to it. We're meant to take the prescription, go to the pharmacist, get the pills, take the medicine, and we're done. And that's what spiritual practice is for. Spiritual practice is the pills. The scriptures are the prescription. The spiritual practice is the pills. And then we're cured. We're healed. Then it's as clear as day, I do not have free will. Then it's as clear as day, this fabric is the one appearing separate. If you don't take the pills, it's just going to be an intellectual understanding and you're not going to be cured. I'll leave it at that. Thanks for watching.